if you're lying awake at night, running through everything you didn't finish, the invoice, the kids' permission slip, the thing you forgot to do in the business, and you're exhausted, but you cannot switch off, then this is for you, because that feeling has a name, and there's a way out of it. I've worked with hundreds of women running businesses with families who are active in their communities, and I've seen some patterns emerging. I've been able to identify 4 levels, one of which you're typically operating at, and we've found it to be true for every mother in business that I've worked with. And the shift from the bottom of that pyramid to the top is really about the shift from the world owns me, everyone owns me, to I own me and what I'm doing. And we know there are 3 big outcomes that have to be addressed by these women in established real-world businesses. The first is generous capacity. How can I be vibrant and present in all of my roles? The second is enduring strength. How can my business thrive beyond me? And the third are the rewarding returns. How can I keep more of what I earn for my family and my team? So what do we see? There are some women who are down here in the red zone. Down here, her available capacity means she's missing everything. Not absent from the building, present physically, but mentally elsewhere. Gone in every way that actually counts. The school concert you sat through while answering emails, the conversation your employee started and you half heard, the version of herself that keeps promising you'll get back to it one day. And when it comes to the strength of the business, and truthfully her life, it's all on me. You feel like everything's on you. You're the product, the process, the decision, the safety net, the backstop. If you slow down, it slows down. If you stop, it stops. One sick day, yours or your child's, and everything waits. And in terms of the returns, it's just hopeful hard work. Giving everything, believing the payoff is coming, running on faith that if you just work hard enough, long enough, something will shift. We call this level the never-ending juggle. You're not seeing results that are even close to the levels of effort that you're putting in. And it feels like in one wrong move and you'll drop the wrong ball. It's a never-ending jail. It's a really tough place to be. We just pause here and sit with this one for a moment. Because if any of those 3 things are true for you right now, you're far from alone. And this might feel a bit real for you. And I'm sorry if it does. Because what keeps women down here is contained in one simple word. Yes. Can you help with the school fundraiser? Yes. Can you cover someone's shift? Yes. Can you pick up my kids on the way past? Yes. Sweetheart, Mum's got to go to the doctor. Can you take her during your lunch break? Yes. We've got a problem, another one, in the business. Can you sort it? Yes. Can you balance the P&L, manage the team, remember the permission slip, book the dentist, cook the dinner, and also somehow find time to remember who you actually are? Yes, yes, yes. And sometimes the yes isn't even always spoken anymore because people have stopped asking. They just assume because you have never once, not once, said no. Show me a man, show me one man who is expected to run life, his business and his family on that same design. You won't find one. You might be identifying with this, and it keeps you back in that red zone, below the line of fear and ignorance. Fear of letting the balls drop, of stopping that never-ending juggle, and not knowing how to solve this. But there's actually a big myth down here, that as long as you keep buying into this myth, this cannot change. And the myth is, one day it will get better and bigger because of what? What's going to change? Until you challenge that thinking and recognize the truth of this, which is my world can run without all of me. You do not need to be completely consumed to be successful. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Being completely consumed is not success. Your world will run without all of you. Your business will run without all of you. Your family will run without all of you. And the school will run without all of you. In fact, and this is the part that nobody tells you, the more of all of you that you pour into everyone else, the less all of them actually get. And as long as you stay here, and one day it's going to be better, different, bigger, just because you'll never get out of that red zone. And in reality, just so you know, I can't help you, and neither can anyone else until you're willing to challenge that thinking. But if you are willing to challenge that thinking, you'll find yourself stepping into this amber zone, which is an improvement. With your capacity, you're now sacrificing self. From the outside, everything's getting done. The kids are fed, the business is running, the clients are happy, the team is supported. But the only way you can do that for everyone else is if you don't sleep enough, don't eat well, don't move your body, and have no life outside of being a mother and a business owner. Her marriage has quietly become a flatmate arrangement, and you can't remember the last morning that was just yours. And the really painful part, nobody is ever asking how you are. In terms of strength, the business is unreasonably fragile. You hired someone, you invested in the tech, the salesperson told you were supposed to fix everything, you put systems in place, you did exactly what you were supposed to. And yet one sick day, one client drama, one wrong button on the tech, and it all falls right back on you. You're the one staying late. You're the one her team texts at 9 p.m. with something they should have been able to think through themselves. The business looks like it has structure, but it's unreasonably fragile. This situation is unreasonable, not you. In terms of rewarding returns, you've been pulled into a black hole of some success you've created. Revenue's coming in, sales are growing, better than they've ever been, in fact. And somehow, at the end of the month, you're still getting the scraps. The money comes in and it disappears before it ever reaches you, before it ever reaches your family, before it ever reaches the life you were building this for in the first place. More revenue, same bank account, sometimes worse. We call this level simply, where is it? Because now you know it doesn't need all of you, but everyone's still coming to you. It's become the soundtrack of your life. Where is it, Mum? From the kid standing in front of one of the shoes they kick off in the same spot every single day. Where is it? From the team member who cannot locate the document she organised, filed and mentioned twice. Where is it? From the husband standing in front of the open fridge, unable to locate the mayonnaise that is right there on the second shelf where it has always been. And some of you are nodding along right now because you know this level. You might even find yourself sliding backwards and forwards between never-ending juggle and where is it? And not quite understanding why you can't seem to get across the middle, because this is where the most capable, the most driven woman I know gets stuck. Not because they haven't worked hard enough, because they haven't yet made the one shift to get them through. Now, the key to getting through this amber zone is, quite frankly, making choices. Really deliberate, intentional choices about who you're going to be and what you're going to have in your business, in your life, in your family, in your relationships. And if you don't make these choices, how could you be anything but yes? Because yes is a function of not having made any choices. So now the early work is surprising, and it's not what you think it would be. But as you make these choices, really deliberate, intentional choices, you start to move from the world owns me to I own me, because I'm making choices about who I'm going to be, about what I'm going to have in your business, in your life, in your relationships. Because here's what I've come to understand about yes. Yes is simply what happens when you haven't made choices yet. The moment you start making them, you start moving. And you'll find yourself here in the light green zone. And for the first time in a long time, you exhale. You've moved across the middle of the bottle and into the light green zone, which is where levels of success really start to show up. You're no longer sacrificing yourself. You're now carefully balanced. Things are holding together. You're managing your roles. The plates are spinning. You've got some solid foundations around you with your enduring strength, but you're still needed. Not yet indispensable. Real progress though. That team is functioning. You could probably take a week away and it wouldn't fall apart. You've got some paper profit. The accountant is happy. The numbers say you're winning and you're definitely paying tax. This is actually doing okay. We call this level picture perfect. You know exactly what I mean. It's the business milestone you posted on Instagram, the caption about grateful mornings and intentional living, the school lunch, so beautiful. You photographed it before the kids could touch it. And every single woman who liked that post had absolutely no idea. No idea that you cried in the car on the way home from drop-off, that you haven't slept properly in weeks, that the business looks like it's flying and the bank account is telling a completely different story. The other mums in business in town keep asking, how are you doing it all? Picture perfect looks extraordinary from the outside, and it's exhausting to maintain. Underneath that picture perfect outside, you're paddling like crazy. The inside feels nowhere near as good as how it looks from the outside. Picture perfect is seductive and it's dangerous because it's just comfortable enough to stop you from going further. And the key here is to release, to let go of the desire for control. Because one of the patterns we see when people tackle yes and move into making choices, particularly in women, is that they just replace yes with a need for control, a need to be across everything. So the secret to this light green zone is release. Figure out what you've got to release and what to really focus on to bring those choices into reality. And the truth is, you might find yourself flipping backwards and forwards between these two levels as well. But the goal is to get to the top of the pyramid and not slide back. But a weird thing happens here. And I've done this work for too long with too many women now that I know that you're going to hit what we call the good enough line. And they start saying, I'm coping really well. And as soon as they say that, I know that the slide down is starting. This is the myth that lives right on that line. I'm coping really well. And I want to ask you something. When your child needs surgery, when they need their tonsils out, do you want the surgeon who walks in and says, I'm going to try and do a good enough job today? Or, stay with me here, when your husband finally, bravely makes the decision that a vasectomy is the right call for your family, do you want the doctor standing over him saying, yeah, I'll do a good enough job? Of course not. Because good enough is not the standard that you hold for the people you love most. So here's the real question. Why are you holding it for yourself? Because here's what those that get to the dark green zone know, is that the goal was to always really fully live. Really fully living. That means delighted about today, fired up for tomorrow. That's the standard. Not coping, not managing, not carefully, effortfully, exhaustingly balanced. Delighted with exactly where you are and completely on fire for what comes next. That is a completely different game, and anything less is unacceptable. And this is the full shift to I own me. I've got a great business, a great relationship, and a great family and great friends. I'm making a huge contribution to the community. And somehow it isn't just looking good from the outside in, but it's actually inwardly easy. Easier than I ever expected to be, and you've reached the dark green level. You know the woman I'm talking about. You've met them. You've stood next to them in a room and felt something shift. They walk in and something changes. Not because they're performing, not because they're trying to be anything, simply because they are so completely, so unapologetically themselves that the room responds. They're not juggling. They're not managing impressions. They are not creating a highlight reel. They're in easy flow. Not a perfect life, not a life without complexity or demand, but a life where their energy is designed in, not scraped together from whatever's left at the end of the day. Generous capacity to be vibrant and present in every role that they have. They have true independence. The business doesn't just survive without them. It runs, it grows, it serves. They step away and come back to something better than they left. Enduring strength that means their business thrives beyond them. And there is cash overflow, real, meaningful wealth, the kind of returns that rewards them properly, their family, the team who showed up for their vision. We call this level the real deal. And here's what I love most about the real deal woman. She's not finished. She's not arrived and done and quietly resting on what she's built. She's delighted with exactly where she is and completely on fire for what comes next. She's already composing the armchair stories, the ones she will tell one day, fit, healthy, fully alive, with her grandchildren climbing all over her and her children watching from across the room, catching each other's eyes, saying quietly, "That's my mum." Not from a distance, not looking up at a role model on a pedestal, right there. Real, warm, magnificent. This is the real deal. And the key to living at this level, to truly living here, is embody. Not just knowing this, not just nodding along to it, living it so completely, so consistently, that the woman around you, your team, your daughters, your clients, they're changed simply by being in your present. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Really sit with it. Because this is not out of your reach. This is not for someone else. This is what becomes available on the other side of just coping. Never-ending juggle. Where is it? Picture perfect. Or the real deal. And somewhere on this pyramid right now is exactly where you are. For you, name that level. Because the moment you name it, you notice it and it becomes real. And the moment it becomes real, it becomes changeable. And here's what I want you to know. Getting to the real deal is not about working harder. You're already working harder than anyone should have to. It's not about more discipline, or more willpower, or more hours. It's about understanding clearly and precisely what is actually driving the level that you're at and what would need to shift to move you forward. And if you're not up there at the real deal at the moment, I'd love to walk you through a framework that takes you a little deeper. I want to spend some time on the pathway through choices, release, and embody, and what it actually looks like. And the best way for me to show you that is in the next video. I'm going to show you exactly what's sitting underneath the surface and why the conversation most people are having about business is only ever scratching the surface of what's actually possible for you. If this landed for you, if you saw yourself in even one of those levels, this channel is built entirely for you. Each week, I'm going to go deeper on what it actually takes to get to the real deal, the profit, the presence, the ease. Hit follow so you don't miss what comes next, because where we're going from here it gets really good.